Victoria's Secret. The fictional angels who embody the beauty ideal of the past. The brand used to be proudly worn and would like to be worn by teenage girls to adult women. The demon that cashed in on a mass advertised collective body insecurity then got cancelled for no longer fitting into the cultural landscape. After all, angels don't exist.
30 seconds to show all models on the runway.
Victoria's Secret, what have you done? You have made the girlies so mad.
Completely flopped.
So unserious.
Gen Z is out here pissed.
Like, what the crazy?
Victoria's Secret fashion show could have been an email.
Welcome to the tour.
So a little while back, I made a video about Victoria's Secret's rebranding, and nothing speaks more volume to how this rebranding is going than their first show ever since the cancellation 5 years ago. Needless to say, there has been a lot of hype.
Idols are back. Adriana Lima, Winnie Harlow, new lingerie. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be sexy.
And thus, a lot of disappointment.
I turned this on and I was like, what is this?
Hello? Oh my god, I'll be right there. Ding ding!
And because I love you all so much, I watched the entire 1 hour 37 minutes of the show to give you a recap, my thoughts on the show, and why I think this marks the ultimate death of the Victoria's Secret angels.
It must be end of the world.
Yes.
Let us first rewind to the cancellation. Cancelled, not yet dead.
It was a major cultural phenomenon. The Victoria's Secret fashion show in its heyday was full of glitz and glamour, bejeweled bras, and over-the-top angel wings.
You look at all these gorgeous women just strutting in confidence, so much power, so much beauty.
Wings, runways, beautiful, tall, skinny models, genetic freaks of nature.
Before we get started, for some context, I do want to share what my experience was growing up around Victoria's Secret. So I grew up in China and Canada, but regardless, since this is a global giant brand, I was very well aware of the glam and beauty it symbolizes. Victoria's Secret to me growing up was the cool brand to associate yourself with as a girl. It defined what sexiness and femininity meant, and in a sense was the introduction to womanhood. I kid you not, but it was even cool to give gifts in VS paper bags as middle school girls. But some things didn't entirely align there, where I always felt so proud to walk in and out of the store with both a lot of admiration and a lot of fear. Fear in getting found out that I don't exactly belong in there, that I have no curves, and if lucky, will be only able to find 1 or 2 pieces in there that might fit me. And God forbid if the store clerk comes up to me trying to measure me in order to help me, my anxiety just shoots up the roof. Because then they'll find out that I am the anomaly, that neither do I look like the bombshell blonde models on their runway, nor do I fit into any of their bras. And for the longest time, I thought I was the only person who felt this, who felt not worthy of the dazzles of Victoria's Secret, until social media made it possible and acceptable enough for women of all ages to share their own experiences of feeling insecure around the brand.
Didn't see new talent, we didn't see diverse bodies. Selling the fantasy was more important than catering to everyday women.
It was a big thing, but it was also that culture around it of not wanting to eat after you.
It went very young and it went skinnier if possible. I mean, I was so disappointed.
This is not to say that one single brand, Victoria's Secret, had all the power to alter a full generation of girls' self-worth, but as the leader in the lingerie industry, it definitely held the power to shape the definition of sexiness, femininity, and beauty for its fans all around the world. And thus, it has fallen out of favor. As this new generation of women are more conscious about body acceptance, diversity, and corporate culture, we moved on to other uprising brands that are giving new definitions of sexiness, ones that make more of us feel included and less like the others that don't belong.
30 seconds to show, all models on the runway. 30 seconds to the show, all models to the runway.
Is it rebirth? So with that background in mind, the only viable solution for Victoria's Secret to survive as a business is of course to pivot its clothing and image to something more appropriate for the current pop culture sentiment. And a question I raised last time was, is it real change or is it just performative change? And so finally, let us talk about the Victoria's Secret 2023 show. Show recap.
A god is a god is a god is a door.
To save you some time, I'll give you a summary to the best of my abilities as to what the show is about. You're welcome. It opens up from a playful narration from Gigi Hadid, who gives you the rundown of what the show is, which is nothing like the traditional VS runway show.
Nothing like a festival.
Roll the tape.
Then follow suit is a series of seemingly related but also not super related short stories of artists, designers, music videos, Miss Doja Cat, some actual runway interviews, more Doja Cat,
And one last time, Doja.
Let me get it started.
and then it just ended. Thank you for watching. It's almost one of those artsy films where if you don't get it, you're almost a little afraid to admit it because you're not sure if you're just dumb or the show is absolutely convoluted and makes no sense. It was, as the Washington Post put it, quote, part extended fashion show as music video, part gonzo experimental documentary, part cringely, unfunny Gigi Hadid voiceover, open mic hour.
I'm sleeping on the job. Just kidding. I'm the new Vogue. Where are the models in lingerie? Show me the girls in angel wings. Then again, these arches do have sick curves.
The film does not clearly connect this particular group of artistes to Victoria's Secret and their products, and has left most, if not all, audiences in confoundment. What surprised me was not only how strikingly different it is from the original show in terms of colors, aesthetics, energy, but also how it became somewhat of an art. Where the modeling portion featured so many other designers and barely touched on the Victoria's Secret pieces that you'd expect in a lingerie fashion show. In a sense, this show was no longer about Victoria's Secret.
Give us a.
Trying too hard to appear different?
If Victoria's Secret wants to include all kinds of models, that's fine. But give them something better to wear.
Just felt like a disorganized knockoff of the Fenty Beauty shows.
As many have already pointed out, it seems like Victoria's Secret is desperately trying to prove something, that they are no longer Victoria's Secret. The more modest, dim silhouettes to color choices were a huge disappointment to many old fans who wish the brand brought back the vibrancy of the old show.
I have lost all respect for Victoria's Secret.
I have no idea who the brand's catering to anymore. I don't think anyone seems to like this.
By trying so hard to rebrand itself, Victoria's Secret might have forgotten why it was loved in the first place, that they created a fantasy for women to aspire to. What was wrong with this fantasy was not that there was the glitter bombshell, fun music, and confetti. It was that it felt reserved only for a selective group of people. Where if you don't look like the extremely curvy yet ultra skinny models, which represented 0.01% of the population, you would feel like somehow you're not normal. And by feeling not normal, you begin to question if the beauty, the glam, the sexiness, and confidence exuded by the angels could ever belong to you too. By solving this, it's not to dim the lights on the 0.01% of the angels who won the genetic lottery, who are not purposely trying to make other women feel insecure. What everyone truly wanted is to simply share that glam, that celebration and joy with more women, women of different bodies and backgrounds and shapes and cultures, to simply be included. To have more representation, to let these women know that sexiness could look like bombshell Barbies and beyond.
I wish I could tell my like 14-year-old self. Yeah. Don't lose the pound, girl.
To successfully rebrand does not mean Victoria's Secret need to throw away everything they had, need to diminish the light on the angels, but to give some love and attention to the groups they've neglected before. Not only in their runways, but also in their products and marketing.
I think it still holds a lot of power in the market and in the culture. If it were to make a comeback, be a little bit more inclusive, it will do a lot of greatness for the new generation of young girls, where they feel like their body is beautiful in one way or another.
I would say though, even though I do find parts of the collection lacking the vibrancy of the old Victoria's Secret that made the new creative direction seem overly corrective, I also think it's a bit harsh for people to call the new aesthetic quote-unquote ugly.
Now I just want to know who the creative director is, because I haven't seen a single fit that looks cute at all. Like, they could have put her in a much cuter outfit. I can't. It's giving Spirit Halloween.
Like, I have never laughed so hard at a video before.
This reminds me of a prom shoot in Idaho. I honestly think 7-Eleven sponsored the tour.
Like, this entire outfit is giving Aeropostale.
Different for sure, but new aesthetics take time for some people to appreciate and others to maybe accept. At the end of the day, it is a rebranding, and the old Victoria's Secret angels, as we know, might truly be history.
There is a certain nostalgia for the former years.
Why can't these women have the same type of glam outfits and wings as the prior runway shows? Victoria's Secret, if anything, they're trying to steer away from that to show their new image. But it just so happened that people also really miss the old image that they have, and they just wish to see it on more diverse individuals.
The wings. Another huge controversy for this season is the wings.
The wings look very cheap.
Actually, controversy might be an understatement. People are furious. Some people straight out called the new wings ugly, quote, something that could be bought straight out of a Halloween spirit store. Whereas others found it deeply disrespectful to the prior angels who had to earn their first pair of wings the hard way. Historically, the wings were a badge of honor. Only the quote-unquote angels were guaranteed at least one pair of wings before the others are divided up between the model cast that given year. Whereas for the VS23 show, each model dons a pair of archival wings they choose, reflecting their own personal styles and the brand's former signature. And thus, drama begins, where people say that it is insulting to the original models who wore the wings and that the wings lost their significance. So, what are angels without wings? R.I.P. angels.
Like, I'm confused. Is she wearing her corset backwards? What's going on? This is a hot mess. Looks like a toddler came up with this concept.
Quote, the tour is intended to be the ultimate expression of the Victoria's Secret brand transformation. According to a press statement from the company's head creative director, Raul Martinez, it offers a more expansive global take on femininity than the lingerie label is known for.
I wanted to use my own body, and I found it really interesting if I create my own size. So I wanted to make it become more I wanted to make it to new shape, like everyone can try. Like the woman work in the cafe, the mother, housewife, or the ordinary woman, they can have their own spotlight.
So here's the ultimate question. Are Victoria's Secret angels coming back from the dead? Actually, before we get into that, let's read some of internet's reactions.
Why is she wearing everyday clothes? Like, did Victoria's Secret forget what they sell in their stores? It's not even a crisp white shirt.
The reactions. Quote, serving absolutely nothing as always. Quote, Victoria's Secret is so unserious. Quote, is this a joke? Quote, why are they in clothes? What is this? And I also asked you guys on my Instagram story of what you thought of the show, and here are some of your responses. From my view, some of these comments on the broader internet
It's like they want these models to look as terrible as possible.
Are so negative that I feel it's almost a little unfair to the models and even Victoria's Secret. For the majority of us, rightfully feel almost uncomfortable with the unfamiliarity. But who could we blame for this is a rebrand and things are not supposed to be the same. But overall, as you may have guessed it, the sentiment is not looking too bright for the new direction. As quoted from Evie magazine, instead of embracing originality, uniqueness, and sex appeal like they used to, they now try to appeal to Gen Z acting like Shein. They're attempting to ride trends and their lack of effort is showing. Victoria's Secret has lost its angel wings. The VS angels, as we know, are indeed dead, and perhaps never coming back. For the brand itself calls the women it partners up with not angels, but ambassadors. As for the Tour 23, from a film perspective, I think it deserves merit. It's a combination of dancing, culture, art, cinematography, storytelling, but from a branding perspective, after the death of the angels, Victoria's not so subtle secret is that it is having an identity crisis. Big time. It seems like it is steering away as far as possible from what it used to be while guessing what the new generation wants. It potentially wants to pivot to more of a fashion house vibe where everything is supposed to be not understood and weird while giving up the pink personality that made it Victoria. Whether if it wants to come back as Victoria one day or be a trend cycling fashion label, like I said previously, real authentic change takes time to prove. It's not just about adding diversity in one campaign, one film, one runway. Nothing speaks louder than sustainable actions. And like I said many times before, trends for fashion, beauty, body types come and go, but confidence is always in style. So what do you think about the Victoria's Secret 2023 show? Love it? Hate it? Comment below and let me know. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you always. If you're new to the channel, I make a lot of commentaries and growth related videos. Check them out and I will see you next week.